Michigan at Maryland. Michigan favored by 13.5 on FanDuel. Over under set at 45.5. Maryland coming off a heartbreaker against Illinois, where their offense just couldn't do it. I say a heartbreaker like it was close. It wasn't a close game, but a heartbreaker in the sense of you were hoping for some offense, you were hoping for some kind of bounce back against the Illinois team that has kind of struggled on defense this season, and you scored 6 points. You were 25% on third down. Illinois hasn't been able to stop hardly anybody on third down this season, and this Maryland team, with the vote of confidence of Mike Locksley to come back, looks like they're playing the worst football of the season. Now, on the other side, Michigan, simultaneously, somehow, it looks like Bryce Underwood was just playing his best football of the season and also his worst football of the season in the same game against Northwestern. I don't understand it other than bad coaching and Bryce Underwood trying to basically be the hero and not trust anybody but Andrew Marsh. Now, look, Andrew Marsh, 12 receptions, 189 yards. The dude deserves his flowers. He's their number one wide receiver right now, and he is their best wide receiver right now. But at the end of the day, I'm going to pick Michigan to win this game. Make no mistake, but I do have some concerns about Michigan if they just implode and turn the ball over 5 times again. Because if this Maryland defense can do anything, we've seen them kind of fade off. If they can't do anything, they can turn a quarterback over, Zach.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be. I had thought, I think I told you pre-show, I had thought about picking Maryland to upset Michigan. I think my concern is that I think they've really faded, and part of that is all their best players are freshmen. And just going through the rigors of a long season, it's hard to stay locked in as a freshman. It's hard to stay locked in, period, but it's especially hard when you're a true freshman. And if you look at how Maryland has been playing as of late, right? Like they started, it's the Mike Locksley train, right? 4-0 in September, right? And since then, 6 straight losses, and the last 3. So the first 3 losses, all by single digits. 4-point loss to Washington, 3-point loss to Nebraska, 3-point loss at UCLA. Okay. So it's like, okay, well, at least they're competitive. They lost by 45 to Indiana, 15 to Rutgers, and 18 to Illinois. Like that's, and like Illinois is a really good team. Indiana's obviously an elite team. Rutgers is not very, like, no offense, like Rutgers is fighting for their bowl eligible lives. And there's a reason for that. And they really struggled. They allowed 35. They could only muster 20 points. And I think that's the thing that really concerns me. If you look at the last 4 games against, an elite team, a good team, and 2 not very good teams, they've scored 17, 10, 20, and 6. Like that's just not going to get it done against Michigan. And I just don't think, like, even if they would turn Bryce Underwood over, I just don't know how they're going to be able to score enough points. And I don't even think it's because Michigan is all that great defensively. It's just, I just don't think, I just think they've exhausted themselves. And I just don't love their chances in this game against this opponent with the way that they faded down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the freshman bowl, right? 2 true freshman quarterbacks. You have Andrew Marsh, a true freshman on the outside. You have the true freshman edge rushers from Maryland. Multiple freshmen playing on the offensive line for Michigan right now. I mean, these are basically, I don't know if the numbers bear this out, but these are 2 of the 3, if not the 2 youngest teams in the Big Ten right now playing this one. And I do think that Michigan has struggled a little bit with, like you talked about with the freshmen and stuff like that, and Maryland has as well down the stretch. So I think talent wins out in this game.
Yeah.
I think coaching wins out in this game. As much as I am not a huge fan of Sherrone Moore, you know that. I mean, I've not ranked him very high in my coach rankings here for a while. I still think he's a better coach than Mike Locksley, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm not saying like overall coach. I'm talking about in game. Do you think Sherrone Moore is a better in game coach than Mike Locksley? Like Michael Locksley got outcoached by Northern Illinois earlier this year.
Yeah, Loxley's strength has never been in game. It's always been the recruiting factor. Like, and I think honestly building culture. But
Except for last season.
well, yeah, last season was an aberration there. But I think Sherrone Moore's a better in game, and I think he's got better guys around him than Mike Locksley does.
And I think Sherrone Moore struggles when he goes up against just an outright better coach.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to see, like, David Braun is an outright better coach than Sherrone Moore, in my opinion. And you saw
Yeah.
some of those struggles
Yeah.
last game.
Yeah. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say. But
Yeah.
I think Michigan is the better coached team. I think they have more talent. And I think if you're going to trust one freshman over another, we like Malik Washington. We really like Malik Washington. But A, I think Bryce Underwood is more talented. B, I think he has better options to throw to.
Yeah, I mean, and you include the tight ends. I mean, I know Dorian Fleming's pretty good for Maryland. Yeah. You want to play a game? I didn't tell you
Maybe.
about this game.
What game? What game are we playing?
I'm going to give you a name of a Michigan player, and I want you to give me your one-word response for how you think fans feel about him.
Oh, dear.
Are you ready?
Is it Samaj Morgan?
No, I'm gonna do it with multiple guys. Samaj Morgan is
okay.
in here. Yes.
Oh, dear.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Don't cuss. Okay.
I wouldn't do that.
I just mess with you. All right. Easy one. Andrew Marsh.
Jeremiah.
It's become an adjective now. I like it. Okay, this one's actually I'll go easier on you. Samaj Morgan.
Bench.
Okay. Zack Marshall. The tight end.
Okay.
Yeah, he's come up in a few good spots for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dominic Zavada. Now he might not be playing this game. Sherrone Moore said we'll see about the Ohio State game, so it sounds like he's not going to play this one. But Michigan, Sherrone Moore, kind of like PJ Fleck and Ryan Day a little bit. Not really big on giving out the information on the running backs.
Yeah. Are you talking about Jordan Marshall or Dominic Zavada?
Yeah, Jordan Marshall.
Jordan Marshall. Frustrated. Not at him, but at
the injury. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last one. And Sherrone Moore did say that Justice Haynes is not out for the season. He said he's out for the regular season, but I didn't think Justice Haynes would come back for the bowl game. But we'll see. I guess if it's playoffs, maybe he comes back. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Bryce Underwood.
Excited.
I think right now, Michigan fans, and I don't blame them at all. I'd be doing the same thing if I was a Michigan fan. I think they are trying to do anything they can to put blame on some of the issues that we're seeing with Bryce Underwood on anybody but Bryce Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
Because the talent is there, but he just has some of these terrible situations where he doesn't look good.
Right. Well, and it was, I think, what we all talked about preseason being a true freshman is that it's like at some point the film catches up to you. And if you don't have the roster around you to help you, even if you do have the roster to help you, it's really hard to be good as a true freshman.
Yeah.
And like you're seeing, like Julian saying, I keep going back to Ohio State comparisons, but like, well, actually, let me put him aside for a minute. I think you see it even with redshirt freshmen. You look at Demond Williams at Washington, and like he is excellent. Like I think we both think he is a top third of the conference quarterback, if not better.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, he can lay an egg. And it makes me it gives me a little trepidation when we pick Washington, UCLA, because I think Demond Williams is going to be excellent, but I'm not sure. And that's a redshirt freshman who is
Yeah.
also oozing with talent. This is a redshirt freshman who's oozing with talent, but I think you've made the point, and I think it's a good one. Sherrone Moore is not the greatest at developing quarterbacks, and they don't have the greatest surrounding cast around Bryce Underwood. Offensive line, skill position, like now you're running both your arguably your two best players on offense, Jordan Marshall and Justice Haynes. Like they're both out. Like I say all that to say I can understand why people are still excited about Underwood and don't want to blame him, because in some ways it is his fault. In other ways, it's on his coaches to set him up for success. And I'm not sure they're doing that well either.
I don't think they are either. If I was going to give one word for Underwood, this wouldn't be for Michigan fans. This would just be for me personally. And maybe I should have asked you to do that instead of for Michigan fans, do your word for you personally. Mine's nervous. Not necessarily because of Bryce Underwood, but because I think Sherrone Moore most likely gets fired next year. If he beats Ohio State, probably not. Um, but I think he's most likely fired next year. I don't think the schedule is as easy as it is this year. And I think you could see Michigan lose 4 games. And I think if that happens, Sherrone Moore gets fired, and you've basically wasted the first 2 years of Bryce Underwood with a
And
coach that's not going to get you to the playoffs, most likely.
who's to say that he's going to stick around?
Who,
Like, I
Bryce
think
Underwood?
yeah.
Yeah, he's sticking
Like,
around. Dude, he's making way too much money. If he went there for the money before, you don't. I don't think he leaves. Do you?
I could see him leaving if it turns into a dumpster. If it's Penn State, like we I don't know how much we'll talk about this with Penn State, Nebraska, but like with what happened at Penn State,
I don't
I don't
know
know.
because
It's hard.
I thought the same thing about Nico Iamaleava, and he had way more of the red flags. Excuse me, sorry, than Bryce Underwood has, and I don't even think Bryce Underwood has red flags. Um,
Yeah.
and Nico hasn't left, or I mean, he sat out the Ohio State game, but that was for a concussion, So
Yeah. By the
so
way, Michigan's schedule next year. I'm talking about like
it's
how
tough.
is Trump going to do? At Oregon, at Ohio State, Penn State at home, Iowa at home, Indiana at home, Oklahoma at home.
Yeah, did I say at
Good,
least 4 games? That's what I meant. Was at least 4 games they're gonna lose.
good, good luck with that.
I
Holy
don't think
cow!
I don't think Sherrone Moore will be coaching against Ohio State next year. Like I said, unless
I,
he beats
I,
Ohio State this season, I think if he beats Ohio State, that gains him enough favor. But
yeah,
yeah,
Hmm.
I think Sherrone Moore's most likely gone next year. And
yeah. I think,
again, that makes me nervous for Bryce Underwood because I think you
mhm.
waste 2 years with him.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good
all
thought.
right, score prediction for Michigan at Maryland.
I do have Michigan winning this 27-13.
I have Michigan winning 31-16. I think with Jordan Marshall out, you're gonna just let them, basically tell Bryce Underwood go, do it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think that's honestly their best offense when they just say, go, Bryce Underwood,
hmm
do it. And he just does
Yep.
whatever he wants pretty much. So